And I knew from day one that if we didn't have 32 students show up, we'd be done by March. And I couldn't tell anybody that, because my take and my time researching a lot of the schools that had attempted to start in this area or in other parts of the country was that there are a lot of people that would be interested in a new idea, but there was a lot of apprehension about joining a school or a program that was probably going to only be here for a year or two. In an area like Cabarete that's so transient, where people come and go, it's really common for there to be really wonderful businesses or services offered, but if the person chooses to leave for any particular reason, it's not sustainable for someone to pick up and carry on. And many people felt that about new schools that were popping up. So I needed to lead with this vision that was long-term, that was going to last for years, even though in the back of my head I knew if we don't have 32 kids here, we're never going to make it. Thankfully, I had a lot of support from really, really important people that were willing to come in and support this vision at a really low, sometimes minuscule salary, because they believed in what it was. We got very lucky in selecting some of the first people that were going to join our team, selecting them based on their character and their ideas and their agreement with this vision. And so we had this really wonderful space. And yet, on day one, the first day of school in the first year, there were 7 children here, nowhere near 32. And one of those 7 children was my child, not paying. And one of those 7 children was the child of our cleaner, also not paying. So we were barely making it. It was a lot of pressure. And once again, I was placed in this situation where no matter who came, no matter what student showed up, what their language, what their age, what their educational needs were, I had to be able to meet them and meet their needs and create a space that they wanted to come to. Because we were so desperate for students, we opened up this, what we called at the time, almost like a homeschooling program. And I thought all these kids would show up with some program that they were working on online or some set of books that they were working on, and I would serve as their tutor. But that wasn't what it was. In fact, everyone showed up and kind of looked at me and said, "What are we going to do?" And so I had at one point 2 second graders, 2 fourth graders, about 5 fifth graders, a handful of 7th and 8th graders, and I even had a 16-year-old up here. And I had them all in the same space. I was so insane to say yes to having all these kids here. And at all those times I was like, if they're not having a good time, if they're not enjoying their experience here, they're going to leave, because they have no, allegiance to this place, and there's no record to run on here. Basically, we just popped in, they just met me, and if they want to move on or go back home and work, they absolutely could do it. So once again, I had to meet the kids where they were. And I would come up here, I would stay late, I would come in here on the weekends, and I would just rack my brain on how to serve so many different age levels in one class. At the same time, we also had a preschool group, and in that group we were letting kids come in from 3 years old to 6, posed with a very similar issue. And at least with that group, there's a lot more patience and understanding from families to integrate students and to have a diverse range of ages. But as their kids get older, there's this feeling from some people, their experience with more traditional schools, that if their 10-year-old is spending time with a 7-year-old, is that going to bring them down, or is that going to reduce their learning? And, we had to wrestle with that. And so I had to spend a lot of time not just planning my lessons and trying to figure out what to do with these students, but also educating the families. So a couple of the things that really worked at the beginning were that I realized I could not stand in front of this entire group and teach them any content at the same time.